me see your hands up, so everybody know put your hands up, so if you're ready for the road, let your friend them know. We're ready for the road. We're ready for the road. So we're ready, yeah, we're ready, yeah, we're ready, 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 yeah, we're ready, we're ready, we're ready, we're ready. Look how the sun now raising up, and the crowd now waking up. The atmosphere have vibes, and nothing can break it up, 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 and nothing can break it up. And nothing can break it up. We're ready for the road. We're ready for the road. So we're ready, yeah, we're ready, yeah, we're ready. We're ready, 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 yeah, we're ready, we're ready, we're ready, we're ready.
Si te quieres divertir con ejemplo y con primor, solo tienes que vivir un verano en Nueva York. Si te quieres divertir con ejemplo y con primor, solo tienes que vivir un verano en Nueva York.
Un ratito nada más. Ey, ey, ey. 4 de julio, vale y Ulay. Junto con mi prima borracha Lulay. Los míos en el Bronx, saben la que hay. Con la nota en hoy, por Washington hoy. Willy Colón me dicen el malo. Ey, porque pasan los años y sigo dando palos. Vendiendo discos, como cuadro Frida Kahlo. El perico es blanco, sí, sí, el tusi racista. No te confundas, no, no, mejor evita. Ey, un shot de cañita en casa de Toñita. Y PR se siente cerquita, sí, sí, sí. El campeonato nadie me lo quita.
De veces nuevo, number one de veces nuevo, ¿ok? Puerto Rico.
Como Bad Bunny va a ser rey del pop, ey, con reggaeton y dembow, ey, con reggaeton y dembow, sí, con reggaeton y dembow. Como Bad Bunny va a ser rey del pop, ey, con reggaeton y dembow. Me siento como el lápiz en top del flow. Cuando yo nací fue que nació el flow de low a low. Ping pong, flow pesado, Big Pong, con silenciador le robamos los gatos. J-Bone, ey, yo estoy en la mía, no tengo adversario, no. Con los Yankees los me aguanzato, a correr que otra vez lo sacamos al estadio.
Si te quieres divertir con ejemplo y con primor, solo tienes que vivir
Ya mismo nos vamos.
un verano en Nueva York.
Cuidado que nadie nos escucha. Cuidado que nadie nos escucha. Cuidado que nadie nos escucha. Cuidado. Tú tienes tienes piquete, mami, yo también. Tú estás buena, yo estoy bueno también. Huelo rico y ando con los de 100. Si tú lo quieres, lo tienes que mover. Tú tienes piquete, mami, yo también. Tú estás buena, yo estoy bueno también. Huelo rico y ando con los de 100. Si tú lo quieres, lo tienes que mover. Lo tienes que mover. Lo tienes que mover. Lo tienes que mover. Lo tienes que mover.
Good morning. My name is Suze Krober, and I'm here with my wife and kids, and I'm a member of New Yorkers United for Childcare. 3K and pre-K have changed everything for my family. Last year, we couldn't get a 3K spot for our oldest child. It was a very stressful and frustrating experience that left us not knowing what was going to be in the future for our family in New York City. This year, we feel so much more confident. The outreach, the follow-through, the emails, the on-the-ground people talking about pre-K, the robocalls, it feels like the city is actually trying to make this work for parents like us. 2K gives me so much hope for my family's future. We have a new baby at home, and knowing that free childcare will be there when he turns 2 changes everything about how we think about the future. Instead of pinching every penny to cover daycare and aftercare for 2 kids, we can start saving for college the way that it should be. We want to stay in New York City, and 2K will make the difference. We want to raise our kids in a city that looks like us, that has the values that we share, and we see diversity as the greatest strength of New York City. But that only works if families like ours, like our friends, like our whole community can afford to stay. 2K will definitely keep families like mine in New York City, and it will help our family thrive, not just survive. The administration is earning back families' trust. After years of broken promises on childcare, parents need to see investment and results. With this administration, that is what we're getting. From the outreach on pre-K and 3K to the 2K rollout, it's clear that the city is finally treating childcare like the priority that parents have always known that it is. The governor is also listening to parents and responding to our needs. Governor Hochul's childcare plan will be transformational for parents in New York City and around the state. We want to see these changes not just for those of us in New York City who have already seen so many improvements over the last few years, but for all of our neighbors in other counties. The governor isn't just talking the talk, she's walking the walk and making real investments to make our lives easier. Parents fought for 2K, and Mayor Mamdani listened. Right here in Washington Heights, where we live, parents started meeting, brainstorming, and organizing to win 2K. Today's announcement is proof that when parents organize and leaders listen, we can have transformational change. Thank you to the mayor, the governor, and the mayor's office for childcare for making this happen. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce the mayor of New York City, Mr. Mamdani.
Good morning, my fellow New Yorkers. And what a good morning it is. It is not every day that we get to make history. It is not every day that we get to transform the lives of 2,000 children and thousands more parents across our city. And it is not every day that a movement by the people and of the people truly delivers for the people. Today, my friends, is a special day because we are gathered together to mark a monumental moment of progress on the path to universal childcare across New York City. I want to begin by thanking my partner in this work, New York's Governor Kathy Hochul. Without her support and her leadership, we would not be here at the Sugar Hill Children's Museum today. And I would like to ask to join me in a round of appreciation and applause for all of our city council members who are here today, all of our state assembly members who are here today, our state senators who are here today, and our borough presidents who are here today. And I say thank you to everyone who is here, all of the elected officials at every level, all of the parents, all of the children, all of the organizers, because frankly, you all together have made this day a reality. As the old parable says, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. We are not taking that first step today, in March of 2026. Many of those first steps were taken back in October of 2024, more than 15 months ago, when people across all 5 boroughs put on sneakers with good lumbar support, wrapped themselves in layers to protect from the late autumn chill, and did their part to make the impossible possible. Neighbors knocked on neighbors' doors. Parents spoke to other parents. People spent their precious free time after work and on weekends gathering petition signatures on street corners, and passing out literature at subway stops. And you did not do this work because anyone enjoys climbing up sixth-floor walk-ups. You did it because you held a vision of a city that worked differently, that worked better. You did it because you believed, just as I did, just as more than 1 million New Yorkers did, that we could make a dignified life in New York City a little easier to afford. And that raising a family didn't have to mean scouring Zillow listings in the suburbs. When a promise is made on a campaign, like the promise we made to deliver universal childcare across the 5 boroughs, it often does not feel real to New Yorkers. Many expect promises made by politicians to be broken or abandoned, and for good reason, they so often have been. But as the governor said in the rally where we announced the agreement that made today possible, the era of empty promises is over. Because what we are here together to announce today, my friends, is very real indeed. Beginning this fall, we will provide 2,000 free childcare seats for 2-year-olds in 4 different parts of our city. We are launching free childcare for 2-year-olds in Washington Heights, Inwood, and Hamilton Heights. We are launching free childcare for 2-year-olds in Fordham, Belmont, Van Cortlandt Village, Morris Heights, Norwood, and Kingsbridge. We are launching free childcare for 2-year-olds in Canarsie, Remsen Village, Brownsville, and Ocean Hill. And we are launching free childcare for 2-year-olds in Ozone Park, South Ozone Park, Woodhaven, Richmond Hill, Howard Beach, and the Rockaways. This is only the beginning of our efforts to deliver universal childcare across every corner of the 5 boroughs. And as we roll out this program, we want to get it right, to ensure that every family can access childcare, that providers are supported, and that when fall 2027 comes around, we have the infrastructure in place to provide free 2K to approximately 12,000 children. This first step will allow us to build the systems and the capacity we need to deliver exactly that. And it will allow us to reinvent our city as well. Universal childcare will not just provide our kids with the quality education they deserve. It won't just lift stress from parents' lives as they know their child has a seat close to home where they will be well taken care of. And it won't just rewrite statistics like the ones that tell us that families with kids under 6 are twice as likely to leave New York City as those without kids. It will place at least $20,000 per child back in the pockets of parents across our city and will make it possible for countless parents to return to the careers they love. I stand here next to the first mom governor of New York State, someone who had to leave a job she loved when she had her children. No one knows better or more personally what this will mean to moms and dads who want to be able to both love their work and love their kids. And I stand before you as the mayor of the city that every business wants to be headquartered in, but where so often the top talent cannot afford to move. As we deliver universal childcare, as we launch free 2K, we are also helping our businesses attract the candidates who want to move here but can't fathom spending so much of their paycheck on childcare every month. And we're making what Wall Street would call a good investment. Researchers estimate that every dollar spent on early childcare returns as much as $13. After Quebec began offering universal childcare, the number of women in the workforce with young children grew by 16%. In a city that lost $23 billion in economic activity in 2022 alone because of parents who had to quit their jobs or cut back working hours, this decision today, this commitment to universal childcare has the potential to supercharge our economy. We will support and grow our workforce, we will grow our tax revenue, and we will grow as a city. Now, I want to close with this. 2 things. The first, that I also want to recognize that there are so many New Yorkers who have grown up in this city and have had to leave this city because of the cost of living across these 5 boroughs. Our dream is not only to make this a place where every New Yorker can stay, it's also a dream where every New Yorker can come back home. And I actually just want to take a moment to recognize one of our teachers who's here today, who grew up in the Bronx, moved to Atlanta, and made the decision to come back home and teach the children here in our neighborhood. And we welcome her, and we welcome every New Yorker across this country who dreams of wearing Timbs in the cold. Once again, this is a city for you too. Because someday, many years from now, a generation of New Yorkers will raise their children here, in this city we all love. They will worry about all the things that new parents always worry about. Where they should buy their stroller or their crib, whether there's too much noise from the street in the nursery, whether they'll ever get a full night's sleep again. But they won't ever worry, not even for a moment, about whether their child will be able to access quality care or whether they'll be able to afford it. They will return from jobs they never had to give up, to homes in the neighborhoods they never had to consider leaving, and they'll never even imagine that for many years it wasn't this way. As we delivered free 2K across New York City, we are writing a better chapter together for all those who come next. And it is thanks to the movement that we built, the hard work you all did, and the courage many of you had long before I stood before you as a candidate or as an elected official to envision a future that was more hopeful than the past. On behalf of all those New Yorkers who come next, thank you to everyone in this room, to everyone who fought for this moment, for all that you have already done and for everything that we will do together. Thank you all so much. And it now gives me great pleasure to introduce our partner in this work, a person who ensured that this day could truly arrive, and the first mom governor of New York State, Governor Kathy Hochul.
Good morning, everyone, especially parents. Any parents out there in the audience? Oh, yeah. Well, let's do something together. Take a look at the faces of these children. Look into their eyes. Look at their sweet, innocent faces, especially the babies. And know that today is all about them, because they're the ones that matter. They're the ones that are relying on us, the adults, to do something that those before had not done, had not had the ambition, the audacity, the courage, the willingness to go where no man or woman has gone before. And that is to assure that they have a secure future, starting off with a 2-year-old program and onward and upward, so they can get the best shot in life, and to give their parents just a little more breathing room, because it is so hard. They are sleep deprived, okay? They're just walking around like zombies most of the time, right? Just wondering, when can I get an hour of sleep? How about 2 hours? Okay, I digress a little bit. I'm kind of reliving a lot of PTSD here. But today we're delivering on something that's been talked about. But this is the first time the state of New York has made such an unprecedented commitment into the families and children of the city of New York. And we're not going backwards. We are committed. And you think about, as the mayor mentioned, I want to thank him for just being someone who has that sense of urgency that I share. I needed a partner that also said, yesterday, not someday in the future, and do a study and think about it and go, we're done with that. Yeah. We're New Yorkers. We want it done now. Yeah. And today is about now. So thank you, Mayor, and thank you to your team and all the parent advocates who never gave up on this promise. Now, whether or not you live in Washington Heights or the Rockaway or Bronzeville or Kingbridge, there's one thing that every family can agree on, that the cost of childcare is so outrageously high. I mean, our kids are worth every penny, but the costs are so incredible. But you know what? They've been like that for generations. Let me give you an echo back from a previous generation when I was that young mom. Now, I started out with a dream in my heart. All I wanted to do someday was, this is as high as it got for women of my era, so forgive the lack of ambition here. I just wanted to be a staffer to a congressman or a senator on Capitol Hill. I had visited as a child. I thought someday I might be able to work in that building and help somebody else do really well, never having the own ambition to be that person myself. But finally that day arrived, and I spent years working on Capitol Hill, working for Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan, one of the highlights of my life. I thought I was done. I'd achieved my goal at age 27. But then we decided to start a family, and boy, was I not prepared. I had no idea that there was no support system. My family didn't live close by. I had no relatives, no friends who were in the same situation as I was. And the choice came down to this. Do I continue with this job I love and try to figure it all out? Or do I end up having to stay home because I could not find childcare we could afford? I'm working on a government salary. My husband was working on a government salary. We made a decision that I would stay home to be there with those kids because we did not have childcare a generation ago. Now, they turned out fine. I got my career back on track. Everything ended up just fine. But you don't know it then. And when you're stressing out about the fact that you now have half the paycheck you once had, and the cost of diapers, even though you go out to the big box store and try to get them in bulk and stuff them in every inch of space you have because they take up a lot of space, and the cans of formula, and the clothes that the kids keep outgrowing every 3 months, literally. Like, you just try to scrape it all together and hope that someday this will all end, that future parents won't have to endure this. That's a little harsh. But guess what, friends? One generation later, those babies grew up and they're having their own children and they're still having trouble finding childcare. So society did not improve or address this crisis until now. This is when everything changes. Now, we've been on this journey for a while. I've decided years ago that something must be done. I stepped up as governor. Now, we've invested over $8 billion already in the 4 years that I've been governor because no one else was making that commitment. No one else said, yes, it's expensive. Yes, it's hard to do, but we must continue on this path. Now, when I first became governor, families earning up to $57,000 a year could get a subsidy. They could get support. And I said, well, what about everybody else? So we added the money. Today, that number stands almost double, $113,000. Up to that income, people can get major subsidies. Upwards of $15 a week would be their total expense. Think about that. To go from $57,000 to $113,000, scores and scores and scores more families and children are able to take advantage of this. We've doubled the number of vouchers. We directed bonuses for child care workers. We've invested in the locations. Because here's the challenge. We have the ambition, we have the desire, but if we don't have the locations for this, it doesn't work. If you don't have the workers, it doesn't work. So that is the infrastructure that I've been building for years, waiting for this day to come. And we have prioritized this, and I'm so proud of what this announcement is all about, Mayor, because it's a sign of tangible progress. And so 2,000 children with little adorable faces like the ones right here are going to know that they have a secure place to go, and mom and dad can be less stressful. I got a more entertaining show going on over here. I'm going to play with the kids. Excuse me, I got to go. So here's what we're doing. We're going to continue investing. Across the state, we're going to be guaranteeing universal pre-K for every child in the next 2 years. We're investing $60 million for upstate as well. We're good. So I'm telling you this, the money's there. That's why we're here today. The money is there. I made a commitment. The commitment is also through the next year as well, though I'm not supposed to budget too far out in advance. But I said I'm going to at least make the commitment for the next year. But the state of New York is not walking away. This is something I believe in to my core. There's no way I could walk away from a commitment to these beautiful little children. Not now, not ever. So you can count on that. I want to make sure that our businesses are more enriched and they're stronger when we have a diverse workforce. Our communities are stronger when families don't have to pack up and leave even across the river because they built more housing and life is cheaper. We're working on housing too, Mayor. We need more housing for these young families. But we're shaping a better New York that our kids are going to inherit. Their children will not have to struggle like my own children are today. That era is over. This says that our priorities are with the people of this state, with the families of the state, the moms and dads of this state, and of course, above all, the children of the great state of New York and the great city of New York. And that's what today is all about. Let's celebrate. And someone who understands the needs of children more than anyone in this city has to be our chancellor, and that is Kamar Samuels. Let me introduce him and bring him up to the podium.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Wow. When I say two, you say K. Two? K. Two? K. All right. Thank you. This is so great. I am so excited to be here. I like the governor, I right now, I have a 3-year-old at home. And as I was, usually she comes to me and she says, Dad, I have something cool to show you. And this morning I said to her, Kira, I have something cool to tell you. I'm going to this press conference and she was like, no. And what I really wanted to tell her was that this is really transformative, not just for her, but for every single 2-year-old and kids to come in New York City. And I am so proud to stand here with you today to talk about this. So give it up for our governor and give it up for our mayor for making this happen for all of us. And thank you to the Sugar Hill Museum Preschool for hosting us today. We are taking a real meaningful step towards ensuring every child in New York City gets the bright start that they deserve. With the launch of 2K, 2-year-olds in District 6, District 10, District 18, District 23, and District 27, that's all district numbers, but the mayor told you the neighborhoods earlier, so I thought I'd tell you the school numbers. They will have access to free, full-day care and early learning this fall. Thank you so much. Now, these phase 1 districts represent communities where we know we can make a real difference right away. We can expand access now, and we can do it the right way with strong supports in place for all students. But let me be clear, for families in districts not included in phase 1, we see you soon. Now, we know the need is real, and that's why this is a first phase and not a final answer. Everything we learned this year about demand, capacity, and implementation will directly inform how and where we expand next. And New York City has done this before. When I was a superintendent, as a city, we built 3K from the ground up. And today, it serves tens of thousands of children. 2K will follow that same path. Because quality early care is not a luxury, it's a foundation. I want to thank some special people in the room. I want you to give it up for the Deputy Chancellor, Simone Hawkins, right over there. And someone who was a huge part of launching pre-K as well, Executive Director at the Mayor's Office of Childcare, Emmy Liss, over there. And I'll tell you, give it up for all the partners, providers in the room. If you're a childcare provider for our kids, give it up. You make this all possible. Look, we look forward to welcoming all our new 2-year-olds into our building next year. Thank you so much. Again, when I say 2, you say K. 2? K. Thank you, thank you.
We're good to go?
time. They were the kings and fathers of the roadside bomb. Soleimani, we last term. If we didn't, I think it might be a different story today. They would have been much stronger and smarter than they are. But they did the roadside bombs. 95% of the people lost their legs, arms, had their face wiped out, just wiped out. I've seen some young people that it's so sad to watch. And that was almost all, 95% comes from Iran and with Soleimani. Soleimani loved it, his favorite weapon. He loved the roadside bomb. And when you see people walking around with no legs and no arms and a face that's been blown to hell, these people, what they have to go and the way they have to live, this is Iran. When you look at the barracks, the famous barracks, when you look at the hostages, when you look at a lot of hostages, when you look at all of the problems, they were really a purveyor of terror all over the world for many, many years. And it's something that had to be done, and I believe that if we didn't, because I see where Congress, you know, if I didn't do this, guys like Schumer, who are losers, the Democrats, they're losers, that's why they're not here. Guys like Schumer would say, well, you should have done this. In other words, if I did it, it's no good. If I didn't do it, they would have said the opposite, that you should have done this. But most people feel, I'll tell you what, I have never had more compliments on something I did. People felt it's something that had to be done. So if we have a little high oil prices for a little while, but as soon as this ends, those prices are going to drop, I believe, lower than even before.
Mr. President, clarify on what exactly it is and
Go ahead, please.
Mr. President,
Yes.
how do you want to solve the conflict on tariffs between the EU and the US? In this
Between who?
The conflict on tariffs between the EU and US. How do you want to solve
And U.S. and who?
EU, European Union.
How do you want to
Well, we won on tariffs, actually. Somebody said you actually won the case. We won on tariffs. We had a decision that was wrong. It was a very bad decision from certain standpoints. From other standpoints, a very powerful decision because it reaffirmed all the fact that we have all these various forms of tariffs that we felt right, but it totally reaffirmed it. It said you can use all of these tariffs. So we have all these vast menus of tariffs. And tariffs have made our country very rich. We have to charge tariffs to nations who play with their money. You know, they move their money up and down like a yo-yo. We have to take care of nations that have been good to us and fair to us, and we're going to take care of them. Other nations, they haven't, and we haven't let them take advantage of us. But the whole thing with tariffs is we had a decision that, like, as an example, we have a license situation, and the license is something that allows us to immediately stop all business with, nobody even knew we had this power, but we do now because of the decision. We have the right to stop all business having to do with a certain country. If a certain country is not treating us well, the president, without going to Congress, has the right to stop. Sort of interesting. I have the right to stop, but under that one law, I didn't have the right to charge them. So I have the right to license them, but I don't have the right to charge, which is frankly ridiculous. But the right was given to us by the Supreme Court. And we have the right, as an example, we talked about Spain. I could tomorrow stop, or today, even better, stop everything having to do with Spain. All business having to do with Spain. I have the right to stop it. Embargoes, do anything I want with it. And we may do that with Spain. What do you think?
Well, sir, I think we're going to talk about it with you. I know that you have strong power. The Supreme Court clarified. We know you can use it, and if you need to use it to assure national and economic security, we'll do it.
Scott, do you have an opinion?
Sir, I agree. The Supreme Court reaffirmed your ability to implement an embargo, and as we've talked, from your first term, the Section 301s and the 232s have withheld more than 4,000 lawsuits, and USTR and Commerce are going to begin investigations, and we'll move forward with those.
And we've instituted a 15% tariff on everybody, as you know, and just used, I'll tell you, We had a couple of paragraphs written in that opinion that were really incredible. Justice Kavanaugh wrote a fantastic dissent, but in his dissent, he said what we should do, and we knew that too. We just wanted to simplify it, and for some reason, I think, very, very foolishly, the courts decided no, but they said you can do it many other ways, and that's what we're doing. And what we've done is we've gone to a very simple, straight 15% tariff. We've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars in our country because of tariffs. So we've taken in all of this money, hundreds of billions of dollars, and honestly, it's made us very rich as a country. Right? So it's been doing good. When will you have the full plan implemented? A 5-month period, up to 5 months, where we can go at 15%. And while we're doing that, as you know, we're doing the various studies and things, and we'll be coming out with tariffs, different tariffs on different countries. You want to talk about that first?
Yes, sir. By the time the 5-month period has elapsed, we'll have completed investigations under Section 301, which Secretary Bessent talked about. We know there are countries out there with deals who are very interested in keeping the deals. We need to go through and investigate all these unfair trading practices, the kinds of things you talked about, and make sure that we're protecting U.S. economic security. We know there are countries.
How are we going to treat Germany?
Well,
I think you should hit them very, very hard.
You knew he was right there when you said that. They have expressed an interest. Germany's been quite constructive in wanting to move forward and be helpful. The rest of you will talk to them as well. But obviously
I will say every single country wants to make the deal they already have. In other words, a deal that we have using the other authority, they want to make the same deal. And we'd like to see, actually, we're going to adjust it somewhat upward, actually, but they all want to stay in the deal, and so we'll probably be able to do that pretty easily.
Mr. President, for Ukraine, after all, Iran won't be able to deliver drones to Russia anymore. So what does this war mean to Ukraine? And having Chancellor Merz sitting next to you, who would you call if you want to talk to Europe? And Chancellor Merz, you've just been in China. The president.
Who are you? What country are you from?
I'm from Germany.
Okay, I thought so. I could see.
So, Mr. Chancellor, you have been in China, and the president.
She likes you.
In China.
I don't know.
Will you be talking about China and what you specifically?
We'll be talking about China, yeah. Sure.
And what about Ukraine?
I'll be going to China in a little while. Every time you meet, you talk about China. We respect China. I do. We both do, I think. But it's always a topic of conversation. We've had a very good relationship with China. We used to lose a tremendous amount of money with China, and that's no longer the case. We have a very, very good relationship with China, and we have a very good relationship with Germany. All right.
Mr. President,
Thank you, Mr. President. We've seen countries around the world, many of whom don't usually work together, working with the United States on Iran, whether it's Saudi Arabia working with the United States, Israel, Qatari shooting down Iranian aircraft, and we've also seen European countries step up. Why are we seeing such unity around the world against Iran?
That's a great point. Look, they're just evil. They're it's not the politics; it's their whole philosophy. It's their whole where they come from. It's terrible. Where they killed 35,000, I thought it was 32. Now it turns out it's much more than 35,000 people, and in some cases using machine guns with people that have no weapon. They have no weapon, and they're being machine gunned. They're being sniped from buildings. They're hitting the people with snipers right through the eyes. It's just a very evil ideology, and nobody's really seen anything like it. As I said, even the fact that they've attacked all of their neighbors, and the neighbors weren't attacking. They thought they'd maybe sit it out or what. They've hit Qatar. They've hit UAE, they've hit Saudi Arabia, they've hit Oman. They were helping us negotiate. They got hit. Everybody got hit because they're evil and they're bad. It's a bad seed, and somebody had to do it. And it should have been done sometime during a 47-year period because so much death has been caused by them, so much unbelievable death. from Germany too. Germany's been hit. Everybody's been hit by them. It's an evil ideology, and I've never been. Look, I've done a lot of good things. So many people are saying thank you, thank you, thank you. You see it in the streets of Los Angeles. They have thousands of people. I saw it the other day. Pictures of Donald Trump, and I'm looking. I'm on the phone, probably talking to you, and I'm looking, and I see my picture. I say, oh no, it's another, protest. I see and then I started saying, boy, they were very friendly people. And then I saw a woman hugging the picture of me. I said, what's going on? And it turned out to be these are Iranian people that live in the United States.
So many.
Thousands and thousands. You saw the rallies. And in New York, too, they had a big rally by pictures all over the place. The fact is that people are happy what we did. And you could never, and I've always said it, you could never have had true peace in the Middle East if Iran was allowed to go, even beyond the nuclear. If Iran was allowed to have look at all the missiles they built. A lot have been now taken out by us, and a lot have been expended. But they have thousands of missiles in a fairly short period of time. And I'll go two things. The attack that we did, known as Midnight Hammer, had we not done that, Iran would have had a very powerful nuclear weapon within 1 month. We did it. It was great timing, but, and you've been able to see that too. The other thing was Barack Hussein Obama made maybe the worst deal I've ever seen, because he gave all power in the Middle East to Iran. He went the exact opposite way, and I terminated that. If I didn't terminate that deal, they would be sitting with a massive nuclear weapon 3 years ago, which would have been used already on Israel at least, and other countries also. And we wouldn't be talking about it right now. But if I didn't terminate the deal that Obama made, giving them everything, including plane loads of cash. Do you remember the airplane flew over there? It was a Boeing 757. It was two of them, loaded. They took out all the seats. It was loaded with green cash. So much cash that it was in Virginia, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. They got all the cash from all the banks. They put it, and they flew it to Iran. I never knew a president had that power. I'm going to maybe try it sometime if it's okay. I think I'm going to do it. I'll fly it somewhere. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. 2 planes loaded from floor to ceiling, big planes, Boeing 757s, taken over there and given cash. In addition to that, he was giving them billions of dollars. But worse, he was giving them the right to have the path to a nuclear weapon. And that deal expired. A lot of people said, oh, you terminated it. Well, it was going to be terminated anyway because it expired. It gave them the right to have top-of-the-line nuclear weapon. If they had, because they're crazy, just like the people on my right during the State of the Union. I looked at them, I said, you're crazy? These people are crazy. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they would have used it. All right, how about 1 or 2 more?
Mr. President.
Go ahead, please.
Chancellor Merz, you just heard that the president is thinking about punishing Spain. What are your thoughts spontaneously on this, and what can you do to?
Well, the answer on that is quite simple. We are trying to convince Spain to catch up with the 3% or 3.5%. We agreed on in NATO, and as the president said, it's correct. Spain is the only one who is not willing to accept that, and we are trying to convince them that this is a part of our common security, that we all have to comply with these numbers, and this is 3.5 for military and another 1.5 for our military infrastructure. So Spain has to comply with that.
Spain has been very, very uncooperative, and so has UK. Now, the second one is shocking, but this is not the age of Churchill. I will say the UK has been very, very uncooperative.
Came to the meeting with the president at the White House. We followed the White House's lead. They made the decision to not share the meeting on their public schedule, and so we followed suit accordingly. However, the top members of my administration knew of the meeting, and no matter where I am always the mayor of our city and able to respond to anything of urgency. As soon as the meeting concluded, we shared that information publicly, as well as with the results of that meeting, including the release of the Columbia student who had been detained by ICE earlier that morning. I can tell you, as it pertains to Signal, I use Signal for personal and campaign purposes. I do not conduct city government business on Signal as a matter of practice. I am committed to transparency. I'm also committed to all applicable rules and regulations governing official communications and record keeping, and that includes the Freedom of Information law. And that practice means to use city appropriate channels for city business, and I've also ensured that my staff knows the same.
The first deputy mayor was acting mayor while you were out of state.
Sorry?
The first deputy mayor was acting mayor while you were out of state.
Yes, yeah. If I'm out of the state, that is the practice. Yes, but I knew that I would be back before the end of the day.
Thank you. Go ahead.
James Ford from Pix 11.
Yes.
Hello again.
How's it going?
Good to see you. As you mentioned just a second ago, you were instrumental in the release of this Columbia student. What role might you and the city generally be able to play in getting the video released of the DHS agents approaching, and for that matter, NYPD on the scene? What role, and Columbia's video, what role might the city be able to play in that, sir?
So I'll have to get back to you on that. I haven't thought as much about the video. I've thought more about what role we can play in ensuring that New Yorkers are not being unlawfully detained. And so when I sat with the president in the Oval Office, I brought up to him the fact that ICE had detained a Columbia student just that morning, and that there were actually 5 people who had been detained either as Columbia students or for activities on Columbia campus, and that I believe that all of their cases should be dropped. After the meeting concluded, shortly thereafter, I received a phone call from the president informing me that he was taking the decision to release her imminently, and that we could share that publicly. Thank you.
We got time for 2 more. Dana, go ahead, and Adam.
Hey, Dana.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. 2 questions for you.
Yeah.
Have you spoken with the president since he launched the war in Iran? And second, you talked about how NYPD is on high alert. Are you aware of any threats that the war rendered New Yorkers less safe?
So at this time, there are no threats to share with the public. Everything that we are doing is out of an abundance of caution. And I'm appreciative of what the NYPD is doing, because it is both reassuring New Yorkers who are understandably concerned at this time, and also ensuring that we are taking every single step we can to be prepared in light of anything resulting from the actions of the federal government and the Israeli government. And I have not spoken to the president since our meeting in the Oval Office.
Last question, Adam, go ahead.
I wanted to ask about your security clearance. I know there was reports today that you're still waiting. You mentioned you haven't talked to the president, but in your previous communications, has that come up at all? And maybe you could talk a little bit about, I guess, with the threat from Iran, whether that's how you're kind of handling that.
So we are going through the regular security clearance process. It takes months, and everything is going according to that routine. I'm also thankful of the fact that there are a number of members of my senior staff that do have that clearance. This has in no way impeded our abilities to respond both to the day-to-day needs of New Yorkers as well as to respond to the current crisis at hand. And what we are doing is taking every step that we can to ensure that we are keeping New Yorkers safe. And I am thankful once again to the hardworking members of the NYPD for doing exactly that across the 5 boroughs, both in times of celebration for New Yorkers and in times of anxiety.
Yeah. What do you think of Sid Rosenberg using the term cockroach?
Yeah.
What do you think of Sid Rosenberg? He used the term cockroach. I know your police commissioner had dinner with him.
So Muslims in this city, for almost as long as we have been in this city, have had to deal with those with power and platform dehumanizing us. And to be called animals, insects, to be called a jihadist mayor, to be called a cockroach, this language is both painfully familiar to me as a Muslim New Yorker, but also as someone who was born in East Africa. And it is difficult to hear. It is also, there's also a reminder that the silence that often greets this kind of bigotry, this kind of Islamophobia, is what allows it to fester. The temptation to treat it as politics as usual. And I want to be very clear that I have far more urgent work in front of me than indulging the provocations of a man who trades in outrage and frankly fears the city that we are looking to build, which is one where every single New Yorker who lives here can call it their home. I am not ashamed of who I am. I am not ashamed of my faith. I am not ashamed of being the first Muslim mayor in the history of our city, and there's no amount of racism that will change the way in which I lead or the commitment that I hold to each and every New Yorker in the city. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Should people go on his show?